Hey everybody, this is Jackie from Kilter, and today we are going to learn how to set a boulder problem on the Kilter board. Something cool we're doing for Woman Up this year is we're doing an international participation / contest where we have Kilter boards all over the world, and if you have a Kilter board near you, you can set a boulder for Woman Up, and then you send it to Touchstone, it gets added to the Woman Up playlist. You can access the Woman Up playlist to climb everybody else's boulders. And if you put a video of you climbing your boulder online, we're gonna pick like 100 people and send them a special sticker pack that we're making just for this. So the basics of how a Kilter board works is that all the holds are light up, and so they're all just gray, and then you can light them up in different colors to designate if they're, in this case, green are start hands and feet, blue are middle hands and feet, purple is finish hold, and then this yellow-orange color is just foothold only, so you don't grab these ones. And so now, if you look at the board, this problem stands out as what you want to climb. And it's very easy to swipe between boulders, so you can change what climb is lit up on the board at any time. So there's some 63,000 boulders in the database, and it grows all the time. We're working on some benchmarks. We're going to call them verified problems. We're working on some training playlists and stuff like that, so it's all coming in the future. But for now, you can share playlists with your friends, you can share problems with your friends, you can set your own boulders, and you can also try all the problems that we have in the database for you. And so today we're going to learn how to set a boulder so you guys can add some of your own ideas to the database. This is the boulder that I just set, and now if I'm happy with it, I go next, and then I can give it a name, which I did, Woman Up 2022, and then right now it's save as draft is saved. So if I put save, it saves it, you can see it's a draft. What that means is if I want to go climb with my friends in the gym and then change it, I can go edit again, and then I can like, oh, I want this hold instead, and I don't want that one anymore. I can make the changes I want, climb it. Once I'm happy with it, I'm actually gonna go back to that first hold because it was better. Once I'm happy with it and I know it's done, hit next, turn off save as draft, click save, and there it is. So now this boulder's in the database for everybody who has a 12x12, or in this case a 12x16, this is the beta app, but 12x12 Kilter board, they can light this boulder up. Okay, so these are the start holds I think I want to use. So this is a pretty good in-cut Gustone. This one is just flat that I put on to help you kind of get your butt off the ground. And so let me think, okay, where it's comfortable feet, these seem pretty good. So we'll light up the footholds, make them yellow that we want, and then I wanted this foot, which is here. So lit up the footholds, lit up the handholds, and it's totally okay when you first start setting, especially, to climb the moves as you go. The app lets you save your climb as a draft, so you can set between other people's climbing without losing your progress. All right, so where do I want to go? I have kind of anywhere, so what kind of moves are we trying to do with this climb is what you want to think about. Let's just do something pretty comfortable, and so this hold's better, so we're going to want to move the hand that's on the worst hold, and we'll say we're going to go straight up to something like this. So, okay, I'll light that one up. That's blue, that's the in-between color hold. Now, we're in a position up higher here where we're going to want to move both our feet and our hands up. So we have to decide where we want to go next and what holds we want to put on to support that movement. This is just kind of a basic down pulling hold, so we could do almost anything we want off of it. One thing that might be cool is like a tight cross like this, kind of midline moves where you're crossing your midline or having to switch your body from one side to the other are always a good challenge. And we're pretty low down still, so we can keep that start foot. And then we can move our right foot up here to kind of start to turn our body to reinforce the hand that we're moving into. Normally, I would just set a climb like guessing on my phone, and then I would put on my shoes and try it. But we're just gonna set move by move, so I'm gonna go get my shoes now so I can actually climb through the moves, and we can see how we're like figuring out what the movement would be that would make this a good climb. I've got my shoes on, I got some chalk, and so I was just talking with Hendrik, who's filming this for us, and something he pointed out is it's hard for people to figure out what hold to go to next, right? Because like I said, from here you have a pretty strong Gustone, you have a good opposing foot, which helps you push into the Gustone, and we can go literally anywhere in this range. We can go all the way over here if we want, we can cross. We could also go straight over to like an in-cut like this. There's two schools of thought as to what to do next as far as setting a boulder. Do I want all the holds to be consistent like this, or do I want to have a mix of hold types and difficulties? Obviously, you can kind of do both. You can be pretty consistent and have a crux, or you can set, have a good start hold and then immediately get to harder holds. It's really just about what kind of problem you want to set. And I always recommend people start setting on something like a Kilter board with what's fun for them. And then you can kind of evolve into like, what's a good challenge for me? What's a good challenge for my friend? Etc. I have lit up two holds, and I know I'm going to need some feet now, right? Because I can't probably go all the way up there on just these feet. I'm gonna be like too extended, and I'm taller than most women especially, so everybody will be too extended. So we're just gonna try it to see what's gonna work. So we start, do the first move. I can keep the feet to grab this hold. Now I need to turn my body around and use this hold. So I think giving us a foot would be helpful to get our foot up here and then do whatever the next move's gonna be. And I kind of like this move. It's an aggressive move, but you're going off a good hold. You have a really good foot, and the catch hold's decent. It's not super easy. If you come off, you're probably gonna fall off, but it's good enough to help catch you comfortably. And it's big, so you can hit it kind of sloppily, which is nice for a big move. Foot up. Okay, so that's the next move. Now we're in a position where I can do kind of anything again, right? I have a really good foot to dig into here if I want. It's facing the same way as I handhold, so my body's gonna want to go that way, so I need something to support me if I'm doing that. Or I can move my feet all the way over to the side here and get stable. We have to decide what hold we're going to next. There's, 323 holds on the 12 by 12, so we can do anything. We want the holds to be, I'm going for kind of consistent and comfortable. This hold, like I said, it's pretty big, but it's not very positive. And so you really need good foot support if you're gonna move too far off of it, which is fine. But it might be kind of cool to use an undercling too, and there's this big comfortable undercling right here that's actually really in line style-wise with these other holds. So we are going to give us this undercling. And now that we have the undercling, we gotta figure out where we're gonna go from this. Obviously we're gonna need foot support as well. I think it would be super cool to just do kind of a big toss to this thing. This is another hold that's like kind of a jug, but it's sideways, so you have to kind of push with your low hand when you catch it. It's kind of good core. I think that'll just be fun. So to find the feet for this move now, which I'm gonna do, and then we will light them up, and then we will decide what we are doing next. We have this swoopy move to this hold off of this foot, so here we are, and I got this, and I could just swing over and bump to this, but I want this climb to be pretty stable. So actually what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with a foot here to help push you over more slowly, and then you got some big feet for the next part. It's nice if you have a friend to like help you just push the lights, whatever you're standing on. So that foot, and light that foot up. Great, I got it first go. And then for the big cross, I stepped on this. I did feel like it was a smidge low. It might be low for some people, so I'm actually probably gonna light both of these up to give people of different heights a good chance to do the move. One cool thing about the draft mode is you can put on a bunch of feet, and then you can watch a few people climb it, and then you can edit it before you save it. Undercling, let's try this foot. Oh, that's nice and comfortable. Cool, now I can even keep my foot. Step through. So, now what? The other thing we want to think about is, are we going to confuse people into skipping? So, if they start out and they somehow go right hand and then left hand, yes, they could skip to this undercling. They have a good foot. It's just going to be a lot harder than the sequence we want. And so I think it's okay if somebody that climbs 4 grades harder wants to do that. That's on them. But there's a nice sequence for people that climb the grade this climb's going to be. So I think it's okay if there is a skip for people that are a lot stronger. We're going to take advantage of how good this jug is and just do big move upright, but we're gonna give you like an intermediate to help you get your weight over. So walk the feet through, do the cross, keep pulling with the bottom hand even if you lose your foot. So now what we could do is we could grab like an intermediate outright to help us, and maybe we give them a good foot. Something like that. Could be cool. So what we did was we took, what I wanted to do was to cross for the pinch. That was like a little bit too hard. So what we're trying to consider instead is, okay, we're gonna do a bigger move off of this good hold, but we're gonna give them supporting hands and feet to help them get into a good position to do those moves, because the handholds are a bit harder than the other hands on the climb. We need to make sure the feet are really good. So I bumped to this first, just to help me kind of get my body straighter and get my foot up. And I ended up choosing a really positive foot instead of, I think I stepped on this actually maybe, instead of a chip, because I wanted this move, and I'm gonna make this yellow so nobody tries to grab it as a handhold. I click this really good foot to make the crux not be the foot. Since the hand's pretty bad, it's worse than the other hands. Good foot. So good foot, good hand. That helps you drive your body around the good hand. And then these are just bumping hands. This and this. So this handhold is still, it's a little smaller than these other ones, but your feet are so good. And you have some opposition that I think is still appropriate. And then what we're gonna do is just give you, sorry, at the top here, we're gonna give you this really good, again, opposition hand. So it feels very natural to bump from this position to this position. If you were trying to hit like a down pull or Gaston, you have to move your body quite a bit. And this way you can keep your body square with your feet, pull with your feet, like pull out with your feet, and just squeeze. The last thing you don't want to forget that people often forget is giving you a good foot position to match the finish. And there's two factors. One of them is that you don't want to just swing off the finish. The other is that, like, yeah, maybe you can just kind of like float the finish at this angle, but if the wall gets steeper, it might be really hard to do that. And so when I set for the Kilter board, I think, okay, if this climb is way steeper or way more vertical, would I need some different footholds, especially footholds? And I usually add a few extra to try to make it more comfortable at different angles, so you get kind of the same experience. Like, it's different, but it's doable versus becoming like totally impossible. It works both ways. Sometimes a climb will be really good on the steep, and then we make it vertical. It's really hard because you have to do a huge move up. Whereas if the wall's steep, the huge move is out, and it's kind of more like being on monkey bars. Feet drop, feet drop knee, foot over, and then dig with the foot. Okay, so now I need to match this. Your body wants the barn door, so if you give them, if you like that, that could be really good for matching. Also, this foot, again, is pretty good, it's pretty in cut. It's not going to affect the rest of your climb, but for a steep wall, it'll be really crucial to help you match the finish. The other foot's just a push foot to help keep your hips on this good foot. So we'll just light those up too. The key points are really, set a climb that seems cool to you, save it as a draft, climb it with your friends, make changes if you want to, like adding feet or removing feet or changing hand. And then once you think it's fun, just save it and send it, give it a grade, and see what other people think. Because climbing and setting is all about experimentation, and something like this kind of tool gives you a lot of room to experiment. So take advantage of it.